And for more on the crisis, we're joined by Ivan Eland from the Center on Peace and Liberty. And next week, as we mentioned earlier, there could be these talks. You heard Jessica Stone say the diplomatic door is open, but it doesn't seem to be open very much. What do you make of these talks? Are they going to go very far?
No, I don't think so. I think the issue probably will be decided bilaterally between the U.S. and Russia behind the scenes as to what's going to happen. And I think those negotiations are already going on between Obama and Putin.
The Russians are saying if there's any use of force in Ukraine's eastern border area, it could lead to war. What do you make of that?
Well, I think this is a standard ploy that countries use. The U.S. used it in Grenada during the Reagan administration. We're going to rescue these medical students. You can always rescue nationals from some peril in another country. So I think it would be a pretext by Russia to go in.
And you had a piece in the Huffington Post, which I thought was interesting, and the headline read, Russia and Crimea, not Munich 1938 yet again. And you kind of talked about the hysteria around this. Can you kind of touch on some of the points that you made?
Well, I do feel that Putin shouldn't have done this. This is a violation of sovereignty, and the international system is held together by other countries not interfering in the internal affairs of other countries unless it's in self-defense, and that self-defense is taken narrowly. But I think what's really happening here has been blown out of proportion because, of course, the U.S. snapped off Kosovo using similar techniques. The U.S. destabilized the Soviet bloc in Poland. The secret services of the U.S., CIA, et cetera, did that. And so Putin is not only taking the justification, comparing this to Kosovo, et cetera, but he's also taking the method. And you can remember, he's a former KGB agent, and so he's very clever. He's sort of throwing both the justification and the methods of which he's doing right back at the West, imitating what they've done.
And you mentioned Putin. You've mentioned him a couple of times. One of the things you pointed out was Hillary Clinton's comments about him. And Henry Kissinger recently in an op-ed piece said, demonizing Putin is not a foreign policy. It's the alibi for an absence of a foreign policy. Do you think the United States has kind of missed an opportunity here in terms of, and do they still seem to be trying to find their footing when it comes to Ukraine?
Well, I think, we've called everybody Hitler, from Milosevic to Gaddafi to the Kim family in North Korea. And so these are all small-time operators. They're not trying to even Putin is not trying to take over Europe. He's trying to salvage something out of a position of weakness in Ukraine. Because remember, how this all started was that the democratically elected government in Ukraine, which was friendly to Russia, was overthrown by street protesters. And he's trying to salvage the Russian-speaking parts. He's done it with Crimea. He could do it with the southeastern part of Ukraine, which also has Russians and Russian speakers there. So I think it's actually, he's operating from a position of weakness rather than strength, but he's doing it very cleverly.
Ivan Eland, always a pleasure having you in. Thanks so much.